and welcome to this game overview of Sushi Go, a fun and easy pick-and-pass card game for ages 8 and up. This game can be played with 2 to 5 players and plays out over the course of 3 rounds. To set up the game, let's say for a 4-person game, each player is dealt 8 starting cards. Place the rest of the cards face down in the center of the play area, and make sure someone has a piece of paper and a pencil to keep score at the end of each round. To start a round, each player simultaneously chooses one card from their hand that they would like to keep. They place this card face down in front of them. Players wait for everyone to choose a card, and then everyone flips their chosen card face up at the same time. These face-up cards remain face up in front of their respective players for the rest of the round. Once everyone flips their card, players pass the remaining 7 cards of their hand to the player to their left, and the next phase begins, with each player choosing one card from this new hand and placing it face down in front of them. These phases of choosing, flipping, and passing cards continue until the last card is passed and the player must choose that final card to add to their collection. Once all the cards in the hand have been played, points are scored, and then the next round begins, with the players being dealt another 8 cards from the deck. There are 12 different types of cards that can show up in your hand that can be combined in different ways to be worth different amounts of points. Some cards are worth points on their own, and others are only worth points if they're compared to everyone else's collection. First, Maki rolls. There are 3 different types of Maki roll cards. For scoring, whoever has the most Maki rolls gets 6 points, the player with the second most gets 3 points. If there's a tie, the points are split as evenly as possible. Tempura cards need to be in sets of 2. For each 2 tempuras, a player scores 5 points. A single tempura card isn't worth anything. Sashimi cards need to be in sets of 3s. A single sashimi or 2 sashimi cards aren't worth anything. A set of 3 sashimis is worth 10 points. Dumpling cards are worth more, the more you have. So 1 dumpling is worth 1 point, 2 dumpling cards are worth 3 points, 3 dumpling cards are worth 6 points, and so on as described on the card here. There are 3 different types of nigiri cards. Squid nigiri is worth 3 points, salmon nigiri is worth 2 points, and egg nigiri is worth 1 point. However, the wasabi cards act as multipliers for the nigiri cards. If a player plays a wasabi card first, and then in a future round plays a nigiri on top of the wasabi card, indicating that the nigiri has been dipped in the wasabi, it's worth 3 times the points. Players can have multiple wasabi cards in front of them, but the multiplier only applies to 1 nigiri card each. A player would need multiple wasabi cards and multiple nigiri cards to multiply the score more than once. A wasabi card with no nigiri is worth no points. Chopstick cards are also worth no points, but they have another use. If a player had a chopstick card face up in front of them, they can choose 2 cards from their current hand instead of just 1. Before everyone reveals their cards, the player with a chopstick calls out, "Sushi Go!" and takes a second card from their hand and places it face down on the table as well. The player reveals both cards as normal, then picks up the chopstick card and places it back in their hand before passing it to the player on their left. If a player ever has more than 1 chopstick card face up in front of them, they can only use 1 at a time. The pudding cards are similar to the Maki cards, in that whoever has the most gets 6, and whoever has the least loses 6 points, including someone who doesn't have any puddings at all. However, the pudding cards are only calculated at the end of the game. So when a round ends and everyone is tallying up their points, be sure to set the pudding cards aside for now, but still with the appropriate player, so that they can be added to the final scores at the end of the game. After 3 rounds, whoever has the most points wins the game. Sushi Go is simple and cute, with many possible variants for anyone looking to switch things up after a few games. While some of the game is left up to chance, a keen mind for planning ahead can keep you gathering the best spread of sushi and the most points. It plays fast and is a great warm-up game for an evening of games with friends. Be sure to check out the Comic Hunter or thecomicHunter.net for all your gaming needs. Happy gaming!